All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. I didn't know this thing started already. It said to go live, but I guess it alerted you all in advance. So, how's everybody? Godson down under. Brett, how you doing? Let's see. I missed all of this. Hopefully, my audio is working. Can everybody hear me? Yep. Okay, good, good, good. Keeping Keith Wilson's health in our prayers. You like that headline? Nobody's going to show up. Hi, Roaster. Jenny. Looking up is here. How you doing? Tomorrow works. Let's go. Remember, if you all have a question, just type in the word question in large caps, and then I'll see it. I'm going to explain why I think it's possible that we might see the rapture tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 3 a.m. in Israel. You can all do your math from Israel, 3 a.m. tomorrow. I guess for them, it'd technically be October the 4th. But for us over here in the East, it'll still be the 3rd. Can we just go yesterday or today and say, yeah, definitely, let's go. I'm ready. I am ready. The date of the rapture has been written in stone from the very beginning. It is not imminent. From our perspective, it kind of is because we don't know when it is. Even though I say tomorrow is a high watch time, I still can't determine whether or not God is using the stellar calendar or the solar calendar or what he's using. So, hey, Skeeter, Nicola, I want out of here. I don't think any of us that are watching want to be here. It's the 3rd day. It's the 3rd today. I guess you are on the other side. For you, it must be the 3rd. I was here kind of waiting for Sister Sandy. She's doing an update on my timeline to repair something that I noticed. And I was kind of waiting. Yeah, I mean, Rock Island is actually correct on creation, and he's correct on the end of the millennium or the end of Satan's rule. Uh, and in the middle, he's correct. But there are some differences between his timeline and mine. But he's done an amazing amount of work. I respect him completely for what he's done. An amazing amount of work. We just differ on how to use the head of the year. It's October the 2nd and hot in Mississippi. So yeah, I was just kind of waiting on her, but I'm going to present the old timeline where I've scribbled all over it and everything. And I think she is a consummate professional, so she's going through day by day with all my scribbles, I believe, and repairing everything that I have found and added dates to and everything else. So wait till we hear Mike's ideas. Yeah, it's I have been talking with Brett quite a bit as of late. Um, the one thing that I noticed is, or I have noticed a long time ago, because of Exodus 12 and them changing, or God changing the head of the year, he moved it by 6 months. Exactly. One could say that today, if we looked 6 months ago and there's an event today, it would appear also 6 months ago. The 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 two 6 months overlap beautifully. So the week of unleavened bread, and that's where I'm going with this comment or this video title that I made. The week of unleavened bread. You ever wonder, did that ever make sense to anybody? It was a thorn in my side for a while, trying to understand why God would make a week of unleavened bread beginning on the 15th of Nisan, ending on the 21st of Nisan, yet right smack in the middle of those 7 days, 84 hours, 3.5 days, Jesus rises, and many of the bodies of the saints rise with him at the same time. And this 6 months out turns out, and that's what I've been working on so fervently. I wanted to come on here and do a live because I think it's in my head. The math is in my head. I fully understand it, but I think my presentation is bad. So this gives an opportunity for people to ask questions, and so I can clarify. Plus, I squirrel like I just did. The week of unleavened bread matches the week of tabernacles to the day. Tishri 15 to Tishri 21. Tishri 15 being the first day of tabernacles, Tishri 21 being the seventh day of tabernacles. The great eighth day, which is October the 7th, which is when Jesus was named and circumcised, matches, overlays perfectly with the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What happened in the center of the Feast of Unleavened Bread? Jesus rises. What might happen in the very center of the Feast of Tabernacles? We find a verse, and I don't know how to present very well on this thing. Honestly, I don't know how to present at all. But we can read in, hold on, John 7:14. This is my argument. My argument is that what's being viewed here in John 7:14 is the Feast of Tabernacles. It is not Hanukkah. When we get to John 10:22, they call it the Feast of Dedication. I might still argue that that's Tabernacles, but it doesn't have to be. The reason it doesn't have to be is because there's nothing written in John 10:22 where Jesus showed up in the midst of the feast. Many will argue that the Feast of Dedication is Hanukkah, but I can't find a verse that calls the Feast of Dedication Hanukkah. As a matter of fact, in Ezra 6:16, 6:18, I think it is. I can barely see without my glasses, and I'm trying to do this from my phone. But if you will, open your Bibles. If you're driving, that's fine. I'll read it to you. This is Ezra 6:18. The header is called the Feast of Dedication. What is written here, it says, and let's see, and they set the priests and their divisions and the Levites in their courses for the service of God, which is at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. The first 5 books are the book of Moses. What was written in Leviticus? Leviticus says that you will celebrate tabernacles on a specific day. So is the Feast of Dedication tabernacles? Well, yes, because it's written in the book of Moses. The book of Moses has no recording of this Hanukkah. It doesn't have anything recorded of Hanukkah, but it does have a recording of the Feast of Dedication. Now, go back to Second Chronicles 7:8. The header is called the Feast of Dedication. Let's see what it's talking about here. Also at the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him, a very great congregation, from entering into Hamath unto the river of Egypt. And in the 8th day they made a solemn assembly, for they kept the dedication of the altar for 7 days. I showed that to you. That was September 23rd, 24th. Then the feast was 7 days. That's tabernacles, beginning on Tishri 15, which is September the 30th. The Feast of Tabernacles was, they began to keep the Feast of Tabernacles on the on Tabernacles on Tishri 15th, September the 30th, and it says, and the feasts 7 days, and on the 23rd day of the seventh month. You can't argue that. You can't call 2 Chronicles 7:8 Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah. It gives an exact date. Exactly. It says the 23rd day of the seventh month. It does not say the 25th day of the ninth month. So therefore, what is the Feast of Dedication? It's Tabernacles. It's not Hanukkah. So when we go on down and we go back to John 7, now in the midst of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and taught. He went up in the midst. Remember, while we're looking at Luke, that, what do they call that, Brad? I keep forgetting the tarp, the big curtain that was separating the Holy of Holies. That tarp was cut in the midst. It specifically says midst, and all of the other ones it says from top to bottom. But this one, and I know it was in the middle from top to bottom, but this one specifically says in the midst. Now about the midst of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and taught. When did he go up there? According to John 7:14, Tabernacles. Again, I will debate you, but it's not that important. It doesn't. The time doesn't matter. Vale, thank you, Brett. It's coming. She says it's coming. Yay! I'll be able to show you. That one's going to be a lot better than all my scribbles on the other one. I wait too long, and then I hand it to Sister Sandy asking for help, and then she must be like, you could have asked me for help months ago, and I could have fixed this along the way rather than, and she's been working on it for quite a while now. So thank you, Sister Sandy. As always, thank you. I think all of us owe Sister Sandy a great thank you for building our timelines for us so we can present these things to you, so we can give ideals as to when this is. We all have our different path, right? We're all trying to figure this out. So let's read John 10:22. And this is where they will argue that this is Hanukkah. And I will argue it's not. It's still Tabernacles. And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, because they add this one little part to it. This one little part. And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, which I just showed you. It clearly says that happens on the 23rd day, or finishes on the 23rd day of the seventh month. And it was winter. God just puts that knife in and spins it around a little bit. It makes us really question what's going on here. But we all know, or as we've studied, we know Israel, and I'm not trying to find an excuse as to make the Feast of Dedication two different times as being Tabernacles and Hanukkah. I think this is talking about Tabernacles. And the reason I do, even though it says it was winter, we all know that Israel operates on two seasons. That is summer and winter. Summer begins in spring, winter begins in fall. If winter began in fall, it began, according to what the world looks at, as September the 21st. I say September the 16th, or 15th, actually, September the 15th, on the first day, or on the Feast of Trumpets. That's when I say it began. And Jesus walked into the temple in Solomon's porch. The only reason, now the only reason that I think this might actually be Hanukkah is because in this verse, it doesn't say anything about him going in the midst of the feast. I know the argument. The argument is, check Discord. I know, yeah, it's going to take a minute for it to translate from my phone. Let me download. Oh, that's nice. Hold on a second. Save. All right, image is saved. I've got the image. Whoops. Let me see. Sorry about this. Hold on one second. Oh, I got the image in my photos. Yes. Okay. It's going to take a moment for it to come over here to the computer from my phone, but it will. Where was I? Oh, the only reason I might agree that that this is Hanukkah and not the Feast of Tabernacles is because not because it's winter. I can give justification for it still being September the 16th as winter, 15th as winter starts, because there's only 2 seasons in Israel. What gets me is it doesn't say anything about him going in the midst of the feast. That's the only reason that I might concede that this feast of dedication is Hanukkah. Although I don't think so, because every other time I see the feast of dedication, it is talking about tabernacles. It is not talking about um, Hanukkah. She sent it to me. You want me to put it in Discord, Brett, so you can look at it, or Sister Sandy can, if you don't mind. Can you put that into Discord in my room? I have a room. Brett has a room. David has a room. A lot of them have a room. I don't go in and mess with their rooms. I don't go in and go, your timeline's wrong and mine's right. I never do such things. I might offer an opinion, but I don't. I definitely don't mess around with their math. I don't like that. I don't like people doing it to me. I don't like doing it to people. All right, now all that being said, hold on a second. Let me see. I don't know. Let me see something if I can. If I can find this. Did it come across yet? No, it's not here yet. Can I refresh? No, it's not here yet. It's going to take a minute for my phone to move it over to this. Give me a sec. He beats us all senseless when we don't agree. Yeah, I will question. Where do you believe? Hold on. Let me do this. Whoops. Question. Where do you believe people go when they die? Do they sleep until Jesus comes to get us? Depends. If you are a bride at this particular moment in time before the rapture and you die, you go to be with Jesus. If you are anything else, you are not saved. Let me make that clear. If you are anything other than a bride of Christ, you are not saved yet. Many, a great multitude that no man can count, will realize that this was all true and this was all about to happen, and they will, as a matter of fact, they will go after the rapture to heaven. I believe that all the dead will rise, not just the bride. I think they all will, and they're going to witness the bride go up, and they're going to stay here. And I think the first thing they're going to do is drop to their knees. But the people who are not saved will stay here. They will stay right here, sleeping, as it were, until they are resurrected, including the tribulation saints. They will wait. Now, that one I haven't studied out. I've heard a lot of good discussions back and forth as to when that is. It might be, it literally needs to be at the end of the 7 years, because they're invited to the wedding. A lot of people think that the rapture is going to happen. We're going straight to a wedding. We aren't. The wedding isn't until the end of the 7-year tribulation. That's where it begins. And that's where it's talking about, go bring in this broken person and that broke, because they're broken. They've gone through tribulation. They are busted up. They're in bad shape. It's your fault. Sister Sandy, she hadn't had time to check it. So if there are mistakes, it's all your fault. Okay, I'll take that one. At least I wanted to, what she's done, what was important is I've been talking about the 6 months overlaying, and I could never articulate it. And it dawns on me while she's updating something. I moved the day out of time, or Joshua's long day. I moved it to the Revelation 12 sign. So I made the 23rd, 24th the same day. I have no choice. I have to eliminate a day somewhere, because the Enoch timeline says there are 364 days, and we exist on a 365 and a quarter day. So I have to make a day disappear somewhere. And that's where I used to put it on September the 15th. The problem was with September the 15th is I was messing with the amount of time Lazarus was dead. I know he died on the 16th, but the two witnesses walked for 2 days to get there. Well, if he's sick on the 13th, then I'm looking at 3 days, and I needed to put it somewhere. I'm not a pastor. What? I don't know what that means, Mikhail. I'm just some guy that looks at symmetry. That is, I am nobody. I am nobody. Sorry, Sister Sandy. That's me. She's like, so how long do I have on this? I'm like, well, the rapture's tomorrow at 8, so take your time. She's like, I'll get on it right now. Yeah, if you'll look up the word, every time the word full is used, in front of the word Chodesh, they turn the word moon. They instead of using the word month, every other time they translated it, I think it's 254 times, they translated it as month. But when the word full shows up before the word month, they changed it to moon. Now, moon only has two, and that is Yarich and Selim. It never means Chodesh, but they will still say full moon. And I have argued that till I'm blue in the face, but we'll see. Yes, I did see I did see CJ Lovick's video today. It does appear as though he's saying Halloween. The problem is, remember this. This is simple math. Anybody can do it. On March 30th in the year 2029, Satan will go in and proclaim himself to be God. He is going to do this on Passover. In 2029, March 30th, Passover will match my timeline because my timeline says it's on March 30th. Satan will go in and proclaim himself to be God on that day. All you got to do is count back 1,260 days. Don't forget the 3.5, 4 days that the witnesses are dead, and the latest possible time, the absolute latest possible time the rapture can occur is October the 13th. You can do the math. Just deduct 1,264 days. Oh, it showed up. Hold on. It's here. Oh, this is exciting. Let me do this. Whoops, that's too big. Oh, that's nice. Oh, she colored it in and everything. That is nice. I can't complain about that at all, except the arrows. I don't need the arrows anymore. Sister Sandy. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you very much for your help. All right. Okay, let me see if I can present this now so we can take a look at it. Question. Yes, I did. Oh, still reading old questions. All right, I want to go show you the timeline that Sister Sandy just repaired. Let's see here. Share screen, photo library, and share. Okay. Now, she's done this for me. She separated it because it was so hard to explain this. The first 6 months overlap the second 6 months. Exactly. The first 6 months, we know the Bible tells us that the Feast of Unleavened Bread begins on Nisan 15. Why Nisan 15? It's the day the Jews leave Egypt. Jesus died on the cross at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday. That evening, they put him in the tomb before sunset because it is the week of unleavened bread. Now, Nisan 15 to Nisan 21. Look what happens. And remember, March 30th is the day Jesus goes to the cross. Nisan 14 is always March 30th. In 2029, it will be March 30th on the Hebrew calendar using that sliver moon. Now you come down here. This is the third line down. Come down here to the second 6 months. 1, 2, third line down. Jesus was here for 33 and a half years. Exactly. His ministry lasted 3.5 years. Exactly. Jesus was dead in the grave for 3.5 days. Exactly. There was an exactness to Jesus. When Jesus was conceived down here on Christmas Day, 280 days or 40 weeks later, it was exactly September the 30th, Tishri 15. 1, 2, 3. This tabernacles matches day for day 6 months earlier to when unleavened bread was. Third line down, Nissan 15. What happened on Nissan 18? We all like to say that Jesus rose on the third day. I've been trying to explain this. Anything less than 4 days is 3 days. When the Bible says, and it was 3 days, it's because it's not 4 days yet. Jesus died at 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. 3 o'clock in the afternoon here is 1 day. 3 o'clock in the afternoon here is 2 days. 3 o'clock in the afternoon here is 3 days. 3 o'clock. Did I do that wrong? 1, 2, 3. 3 o'clock in the afternoon here on Sunday would be 4 days. Anything less than 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday is 3 days. He rose at 3 o'clock in the morning. Sunday morning, the Bible records it was just before sunrise, that it was still dark when they ran down there to the tomb. All of this different indicators that Jesus rose early in the morning on Sunday. The Bible even tells us he rose on the first day of the week. Why does he overlap? He only really needed to be in there for 72 hours. Well, 3 hours of it, he couldn't help. They had to get his body to the tomb before sunset because the Feast of Unleavened Bread begins on Nisan 15. That's when the Feast of Unleavened Bread begins. So there's 3 hours right there. And if you say 72, then you say 75. He would have had to rise here after sunset on Saturday. But the problem is, the Bible tells us he rose on the first day of the week. The Bible tells us that they ran down to the tomb or went down to the tomb before sunrise. So this is where they went down there. My argument is this. This is the third line. Unleavened bread goes all the way down here, and then the great eighth day, right here. Line number 3, the Feast of Tabernacles, Tishri 15 to Tishri 21. Right here in the center, October the 3rd at 3 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, it's October the 3rd for us, but for Israel, it's October the 4th at 3 o'clock in the morning. You come back, and it will be 8 p.m. on October the 3rd, the exact moment that Jesus rose. When Jesus rose here, it says 3 o'clock in the morning. That's Israel time. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am. You can all do your math from when it is exactly 3 o'clock in the morning on this day here. Same thing down here. Whoops, I passed it. Same thing down here. 3 o'clock, where did it go? 3 o'clock in the morning. This is at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's why I'm looking at 8 p.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. You can take this timeline or this 6 months and overlay this 6 months, and you will notice that a lot of it matches. But because of the solar versus a stellar year, that's why March 30th is here, and that's why it's still Tishri 15 and Nisan 15. It would be easier to go by the Hebrew count at that point. Why do I think it's March 17th? Everybody's like, but the Enoch calendar says that the new year started on March 21st. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Where are we at? Here we go. All right. It does not say that. The Hebrew or the Dead Sea Scrolls did not recognize the Julian calendar or the Gregorian calendar at all. So every date that one might find in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the math that they use to tell you the date that appears on the Gregorian calendar is their math, and in my opinion, their math is wrong. The head of the year must be on March 17th. If not, Jesus is not conceived on Christmas Day. If we go on the equinox, Jesus was conceived on December the 28th. It makes no sense, none whatsoever. Scrolling down. Yes, he did. It's just a high watch day tomorrow at 8. I don't know if it's going to happen. I find you time to study the math of the dates and calendars is quite a talent. Thank you. Eye opening, and I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just my math, and honestly, you know, October. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me show this right here, real quick. Did I do that? No, I did that wrong. Hold on. Went the wrong way again. There we go. Found it. I realize how I have to do this. Yes. Oh, hold on. There we go. This says, oh, it does let me change. Never mind. I can change it from here. I had no idea. All right. So, like I said before, there is an event that nobody can argue. Jesus will go into the temple in 2029 on March 30th at 3 p.m., the moment Jesus died, and proclaim himself to be God. He will do that on this day because he desperately wants to be God. He's in for a rude awakening, but he can't see that. He is blinded by jealousy. He cannot see that is a bad moment for him. When we count back, you got the 3.5 days, the 2 witnesses are dead. When we count back, the latest possible moment is October the 13th. I think that we're dealing with October the 3rd. I had it down there because of the 3.5 days. But this looks like number 4 again is my favorite timeline. Third was giving the 2 witnesses 3.5 days, but number 4 also because it is symmetrical. 3 out of 3 symmetrical dates that I found. This is the date Jesus rises 6 months out, 1,260 days. The witnesses die. Why is this my favorite one? Because they die when Lazarus dies, the 2 witnesses. And Jesus cries when he's out there raising Lazarus. Why does he cry? Why does he cry? Because I believe that's the last moment that all the tribulation saints will be home. I don't think they'll be here that long, but he might be crying for the Jews who are about to go over here into the great tribulation. He cries because he knows Satan is going to proclaim himself to be God in just 10 days after that. 10 days. So, all right, let me go back to stop sharing. Back to StreamYard. There we go. All right, let me go back to questions. I do think that Brother Joshua was giving a message, not that it was wrong. Well, it was. We didn't get raptured, but that it woke up the entire world. I could have had the same visitation and came on here and said, Jesus visited me, and the rapture is going to be on September the 23rd. You guys would have hung me out to dry, number one, when it passed. Number two, he came from nothing. He didn't have anything. He didn't have a ministry. He didn't have a YouTube channel. He had nothing. He came out and said this on that program, and it lit up and took off. And what do I think that was? I think that was the wake up moment. I don't. I've heard that guy after the fact, and he just seems and look, Satan didn't do it. You know how many people came to God, came to Jesus? Talk about a come to Jesus moment. That was a come to Jesus moment. You think Satan did that? He didn't do that. So no, I don't believe that. And I do believe that God did use him. It's just like Elijah and Elisha. They were both walking along. I think actually David the Watchman said this on his video today. They're both walking along. He didn't know exactly when. He just knew he was in the season. And every town they went to, they're talking to Elisha like, "Hey, don't you know they're taking him away today?" Yeah, whatever. I don't want to talk about it myself, but yeah, whatever. Sorry, this medicine. It's medicine I have to take because I'm old. Messes my stomach up really bad. Isn't the rapture in 2026? No, no, it's not. It's 2026 is not a jubilee year. Years from 2029, we're looking at 2026, but 2025 because half the year. No, 3.5 years from 2029 is right now. We're in that window right now. 3 years from 2029 might be 2026, but 3.5 years is 2025. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brett, for slowing it down. I'm probably way behind. I'm just looking for the word question. I will put the update calendar on the website. So if you aren't in Discord, you can go download it. There you go. Oh, it's on the website. Yeah, you can go to her website, which should be posted here. You should be putting your website at the bottom right of every timeline you build. Everyone. Question: do you think Brother Joshua is right? Yes, I think it woke everybody up. I really do. I don't think that came from Satan. If it didn't come from Satan, then it came from God. Is God a liar? No. When God said, if you read the account of Noah, it appears as though when you're reading the account that God shut the door a week early. That's what it looks like, but he didn't. Noah didn't sit in that ark with the door closed for a week. He sat in that ark for a week with the door open. It was closed the moment it began to rain. But if you look at when he went into the ark, it began to rain. It's because when God views an event, he views it, apparently, because of how we read it, he views it as a whole event. He speaks to it as though it's one single event, even though for us, there is a week going on in between the two, between the time he went in and the time it began to rain and he shut the door. It appears as though he shut the door on October the 25th, but he didn't. He didn't shut the door on October 25th. He shut the door when it began to rain. And we know that in yet 7 days, I will make it rain. And that happened on October the 31st. The same thing happens with the dead in Christ that rise when Jesus. But then when you're reading the entire event, the entire window of that event is an 84-hour period of time. It appears as though the dead, and that's what it says. So you're like, but then we have to take common sense and understanding. God is speaking to the entire 84-hour period of time. And the great earthquake, and many of the bodies of the saints rose, and they rose after Jesus rose. But it's the whole event. They did not lie. I don't know about you, but lying in a dirt grave that's been opened for 3.5 days, number one, you'd all die again. You would all, because you can't live more than 3 days, 36 hours without 72 hours without water. And we're talking about 84 hours. So many of them, not in great health, after 3 days would be dead again. So no, the graves were not thrown open at that great earthquake, even though they might have been jostled around. The dead came out of their graves after Jesus rose. The entire event is being spoken to. And I believe the same thing is happening here. I think that what got kicked off on September the 23rd, 24th by Joshua is the entire event. It appears as though the rapture is supposed to be on the Feast of Trumpets, what he called the Feast of Trumpets on September the 23rd, and it didn't happen. But then we have to discuss, did God lie? No, of course not. He didn't lie. He's looking at the whole event. Did God lie when he said, get into the ark because it's going to rain? But then he closed the door and it began to rain. He's not lying. He's expressing his omnipotence, omnipresence. He's expressing his eternal viewpoint of things, and letting you know when he talks this way that he is God. He's not stuck by time. So he's viewing a segment of time He's viewing a segment of time. So what got kicked off on September the 23rd? Wasn't a lie. It wasn't a lie, because a lot of people were saved because of Joshua and that date. And so high watch day tomorrow, 8 p.m. Significant. Yeah, the Jews did not do what they were told to do. It's already October the 3rd in Israel. Like I said, Israel will be October the 4th at 3 a.m. For us, it'll be October the 3rd tomorrow at 8 p.m. You're looking at, it's almost 8 p.m., so you're looking at 24 hours from about right now is what I'm seeing. Now, I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again, but that's what I'll be looking at. About 24 hours from now, 24 hours and what is that, 12 minutes, 22 minutes? We'll be looking at possibly a rapture. Possibly a rapture. All right, looking for the word question. I know I'm way behind. I'm sorry, but I wanted to get the timeline that Sister Sandy worked so diligently on and so quickly on to show you how it overlaps the way it does. The Feast of Unleavened Bread matches the Feast of Trumpets. Exactly. There is no other calendar that will do that. No moon calendar, no sliver moon, no full moon is able to do that. It is precise and exact, just like the dates that are in the Bible. They are precise and exact. 150 days after the flood is the cross. The flood happened on November the 1st, October the 31st. You count 150 days. You're landing on March 30th every time. That's just the way it is. It is there is no moon involved in setting dates. The moon is there for eclipses and for blood moons. That's what it's there for. It's there for warnings to Israel. No, I don't think that. I know they're trying to give Brother Joshua an out because he is so genuine. Like I said, I believe God is viewing the entire period of time as a moment in time, beginning with September the 23rd, ending with the rapture of the bride. Okay, I don't think Joshua. I think that they're trying, and I don't know if Joshua is expressing this or if somebody else is, but today's Gregorian calendar, day for day, exactly day for day, is the Julian calendar that Jesus was on. C.J. Lubbock explained this much better than I did or have, in that there is a time that when the Julian calendar was built, it was built wrong, and even the Gregorian calendar is wrong. Every 4,000 or 5,000 years, it's off by a day. So even the Julian calendar, Gregorian calendar, does the same thing. So you can go in all you want and add those 13 days back in. All you're doing is matching back up to. You're trying to fix something that's broken. The Julian calendar is broken. It's not. There's no value in changing that to try to drag out. We do this all the time. I see it all the time. For me, when trumpets passed, it passed. When atonement passed, it passed. Now we're coming to Tabernacles began on September the 30th with Jesus' birthday. Now I'm looking at the day Jesus rose. And so when that passes, for me, it passed. There's no, well, let's stretch it out. Let's look at this calendar, that calendar. They'll do that until after, unless we're raptured, but they'll continue to stretch out. They'll call Trump. I've seen so many channels do it. They'll call a date. 9/24, they'll call that date for 2 months, and then they'll finally give up on it. A date is a date, and there is an exact date that date happens. So in my opinion, the answer is no. We can't add that 13 days back in. Dr. Barry Awe said October the 3rd. Either way, it's this week. I did not know that. Dr. Barry Awe said October the 3rd. Did he overlap the 6 months as well, or I don't know how he came to that. That's great that he did. Yes, Tabernacles does. We can't go till October the 16th. Cool Cat, I guess, put out a video. We can't. He should know that. It's right in the Bible that Satan will go in and proclaim himself to be God. He's going to do that on Passover. Passover is on March 30th. When you count back 1,260 days, you can't forget the 3.5 days they lie dead. It cannot happen after October the 13th. I think that's why he's using October the 16th. He forgot to count the time that they're dead. So he would be categorically wrong about October the 16th. If you have a question, remember to type in the word question. There you go. Yeah, you're asking the same question over and over again. Let's see here. Scrolling down. Sorry, scrolling. 7:42. Oh man, I'm way behind. Yeah, I don't think any of us honestly should have mocked Joshua at all. I don't think that any of us should have done that. We did. It's like did anybody watch David the Watchman's video today? Very, very good. And he articulated it very well in that we had our reservations. We held back. Mathematically, no, for me, the rapture wasn't going to happen on that day. But it sure did. A lot of new people sure did rally around looking at this stuff. It was the most Googled thing for a while there. And now the mockers and scoffers come out against him. I have never mocked him. I had my reservations about his date, but the more I think on it, which is what we're to do, we're to contemplate these things, the more I think on it. Yes, I mentioned Rock Island Books. The more I think on it, I realize that Joshua was used of God, and I believe God is looking at the entire event, just like he did when he was talking about the dead rise. They didn't lay dead for 3.5 days in those graves waiting for Jesus to rise. That's not what happened. He just looked at the whole event. Just like when Noah got on the ark, it says he got on the ark and it started to rain, but it's not going to rain for 7 days. It's a whole event. That's how God is. He's omnipotent. He's everywhere. And when he sees us, it's like just a flick of time. Why did Noah have 7 days and we have 13 because of the calendar? Good question. Yeah, I literally thought that, and I made a video. I said a very high watch day will be September the 30th, which was 7 days later, Jesus' birthday, which mirrors the cross on March 30th. I thought, that's a very high watch day, but it went past. I'm just giving you another high watch day, and that will be the day that Jesus rose and all the dead in Christ rose with him. It's an absolute perfect, how would you say, scenario explanation of why that story is even in these stories are in the Bible for a reason. But go past that, we're going to keep watching. The event is going to happen. It is going to happen. When it's going to happen, that's what we're all trying to figure out. We're all doing all this work, and I haven't stopped for years, but we're all doing all this work trying to figure it out. I just now, literally just now in the last few days, that's when I started talking to Brett. It was too late to talk to Spinebreaker, and I started talking to Brett, and I said, I didn't realize this, but the Feast of Unleavened Bread overlaps tabernacles. And it says in John, what was it? John 7:14, that he went down in the midst of the feast. And the feast that he went down in was tabernacles. It was not Hanukkah. It was tabernacles. John, again, I will argue John 10:22 might have been Hanukkah, but it clearly says Feast of Dedication. And we allow the Bible to interpret the Bible, and the Bible has interpreted the Feast of Dedication as being tabernacles. It does not interpret it to being Hanukkah, not at all. So it says Feast of Dedication, 2 Corinthians 7:10. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month, You can't get any clearer than that. The Feast of Dedication ended on the 23rd day of the 7th month. You can't get any clearer than that. Let me show you. Whoops, I have to share. Hold on. Let me show you this again. Oh, hold on. That's the old one. Well, look at that old thing. Let's look at the new one. Brand new, shiny, smells like a brand new car. Oh, look at that thing. Whoops, I went too big. Hold on. Oh, beautiful. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month, Solomon sent them away all happy. October the 8th. Yes, October the 7th, the day Israel was attacked, the day Jesus was named and circumcised, actually is over here. We have to deal with this 13-hour still. Even though I combined it here, I was running with the problem still of the time difference. But at any rate, Israel was attacked here. Jesus was named. Oh, it was here. Never mind. I misspoke. Jesus was named and circumcised here on October the 7th. Tabernacles here. Still thinking of the old timeline. But look, it ended on the 23rd day of the 8th month, which indicates to me that it's actually October the 8th. Maybe it's because I changed it. I have to go back now. I don't know. At any rate, how perfect is that? And it says it right there. Feast of Dedication, Solomon, the 23rd day of the 7th month, and he sent them away. How perfect is that? This overlaps tabernacles with unleavened bread perfectly. And right here, Jesus at 8 p.m. for us and 3 a.m. for him in October rises. All right, let me get back to here. All right. The rapture's not happening. Okay. When do you think the great falling away is? That's the rapture. There won't be a single Christian on planet Earth the moment the rapture occurs. That's the rapture. Not one single Jesus loving Christian will be on planet Earth at that moment. The moment it happens, as soon as we're gone, many will drop to their knees and accept that cup, that free cup that Jesus gives you. And like Brett says, all you can do is hand him back an empty cup. You can't go get baptized enough. You can't give enough money. You can't sell enough of your stuff and give it away. You can't do any of that enough to make Jesus happy. The only thing you can do is give him back an empty cup. That's the great falling away. It's time. I will be so disappointed if I'm left behind. Cast everything off. None of us deserve this. We're all destined to go through tribulation, but he's going to yank those who, and I don't want to word it this way. The rapture, I have to word it this way. The rapture is a reward for those who are watching. That the tribulation saints, and I don't want to word it like that because a lot of you are going to get upset and say, well, I know people that aren't watching that love Jesus and gave their life to Jesus. Yes, there are a lot of people who are not watching, love Jesus, and gave their life to Jesus. That's not what I'm saying. They still would love his appearing. None of those people will show up in heaven kicking and screaming. I don't want to go now, because they're going to get their wish. They won't go unless they really want to. And I can't imagine a single saved person that doesn't want to be in the presence of Jesus Christ. Like now. And they don't have to be looking at timelines and watching YouTube videos and all that. That's not what I'm saying. It is a reward for those who believed on Jesus without seeing anything. But the doubting Thomases are out there. They have to see it first. They are going to go into tribulation. They are going to see the seals open. They will not be in heaven until the sixth seal. Will it be progressive? I don't know. It might be from the very moment that they see the rapture occur, they drop to their knees, and then they die, they go to heaven, and that goes over a period of time. I don't know how long the six seals last, but in my opinion, it goes by pretty quick. I did not see that Rock Island, CJ Lovick verified Jesus' birthday. I did not see that. Late September. He tied it to the 6th of Tishri. Adam wasn't created. Adam wasn't created on the 6th of Tishri. Let me look at that real quick, just to make sure. Adam was created on the. Hold on. Hold on a second. My phone froze up. That was weird. Never does that. Did it again. Okay. Let me see. Adam. Sorry. Adam was created on the 2nd of Tishri. What does this say? Oh, here I am doing this thing again where I'm not putting the questions up. I apologize for that. The 6th of Tishri. No, he was not created on the 6th. See, they're trying to say that the creation began on the 1st of Tishri. It couldn't. Mathematically, it couldn't begin on the Tishri 1. It had to begin on Elul 28. Otherwise, Jesus didn't go to a cross on a Wednesday. He didn't rise on a Sunday. Tabernacles didn't happen on Tishri 15. Think about it. Tabernacles has to happen on Tishri 15. If Adam was created on Tishri 2, I mean on Tishri 6, mathematically, it just literally makes no sense. So no, he was created on Tishri 2. Tishri 2. It's just math. I have no emotion behind the math. I didn't care where the math landed. I just did the math and put it on a timeline. And a timeline you can get for free if they put Sister Sandy's website up here. You can get that for free and download it. I think pretty much everybody has come to the conclusion that this is the Jubilee year. This is the Jubilee year. I don't know that there's anybody not recognizing that Joshua crossed over the Promised Land in 1406, which was a Jubilee year from creation. And then from Joshua to 2025 is 3,430 years. And it is a Jubilee cycle of, I think it was 70. You're going to make me do this again. Hold on a second. Let's go into that real quick. Let's see here. Right about here. All right. It's very simple. This is super simple. Okay. Is it down at the bottom? 1406, right there. March 26, 1406 is the triumphant entry of Jesus, and it is the triumphant entry of Joshua into the Promised Land, 1406. We know that's accurate because it is exactly 53 times 49 Jubilee cycles to the day from creation. Creation began in 4004 on September the 11th, but the year changes over on September the 15th. September the 15th is Tishri 1. That's why Adam was created on Tishri 2, September the 16th. The year changed over from 4004 BC to 4003 BC. Adam was in the garden not for 39 or 35 years. He was in the garden for 7 years. That is extra biblical, but that is the consensus. It was 7 years. This 7 years matches this 7 years down here of tribulation. It was 7 good years in the garden, 7 bad years in tribulation. When you count from the creation, 53 times 49 Jubilee cycles, you land here. From here, you count 70 Jubilee cycles times 49, 3,430 years, you land here in 2025. That is including the 0 year. Like I've said before, this is not actually 2025 right now. It's actually 2024. But we're going to stick with 2025 to keep everyone happy, because this is, in fact, 2025. Can it go to 2026? No, mathematically, it's already a year past because of the 0 year. Mathematically, it's still mathematically correct. 70 times 49 will bring you to, because of the 0 year, 2025. So let me stop sharing. I like the fact that I figured out how to do that, by the way. So I'm happy to be able to go in there and do that. So I don't think there are different calculations. I think that anybody that's done that basic rudimentary math, it's rudimentary. I mean, it's real simple. Anyone can do it. Uh, and you can see that this is, in fact, uh, the Jubilee year. And it cannot be next year. And the rapture, in my opinion, must happen in a Jubilee year. Let me put the question up there because I don't want to forget to continue to do that. What kind of time gap do you think is between the dead in Christ rising and the rapture? I think it's instant. Instant. I don't know about you, but if I see the dead in Christ rise and I got to stand around for a couple days, I'm gonna be weirded out, super weirded out. I'm gonna be calling Brett. Are you still here, buddy? The power is probably going to go off because of that EMP that's about to happen. I'll be calling David, Spinebreaker, Tony Early, the Cataclysm. Guys, are you still here? I'm going to freak out. No, we're going to go up right away. Like right away. They go first, we go next. There won't be enough time for you to have a doubt that you missed the rapture. I don't think God's going to play with it. There she goes. I'll put it on the screen. There you go. www.endtime-studies.com. Totally free. Go in there. And did you put that new timeline in there already? She's so fast. I have to study the new timeline because I had to take that day at a time, that extra day. I had to put it somewhere. I never knew where to put it. And I was looking at the Revelation 12 sign. I'm like, why does that goofy Revelation 12 sign look like it hit a day off? It's literally 1 day off. And I said, oh. And then Joshua came out with this. It's September 23rd, 24th. I'm like, well, that's as good a place as any. So I put it there. That's where it's at now. I don't think about the 3 days of darkness. That is a Catholic concept. Do I think maybe the power goes out for 3 days? Possibly. Possibly. Let's see here. If the timeline is based on events that happened in Israel, why are we waiting for October the 3rd USA time? Like I said, Eastern time for me, 8 p.m. Eastern time for me tomorrow, that's literally 24 hours from now. Jesus rose at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and tomorrow is always a Sunday. It's not. It doesn't move around like the Gregorian calendar does. It's always a Sunday tomorrow, and so for Israel, it will be 3 o'clock in the morning. For us, it'll be 8 p.m. So it's not really USA time. It's basically just me telling you where I'm at right now. All right, question. Why are you giving it a 10-day grace period of the 8th day the child was presented on the 8th day? So I 10-day grace period? I'm not sure about that. I believe Tabernacles began on September the 30th, Jesus' birthday, and he's named and circumcised on October the 7th when Israel was attacked. And I think halfway through, the 7 days, halfway through, 1, 2, 3, halfway through will be for Israel. It'll be the night of October the 3rd, but it'll be in Israel October the 4th at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's see your question. Why did Noah wait 7 days and we had to wait 13? That's the same question you keep asking over and over again. I already answered that question. I don't know anything about the moon. I don't follow the moon. The only time I look at the moon is because of Spinebreaker's concept that it might be half and half when viewing the 10 bridesmaids half and half. But I don't look at the moon for anything in my calculations whatsoever. Let's see, what does this say? Question: I thought Jacob was 77 when he married Leah, but when I looked it up, it said he was 84. Which is it? 84. Jacob was 77 years old when he left and ran from Esau. That's abundantly clear based on the math that everyone has done. When he got to Laban, his uncle, he saw his cousin Rachel and said, "Ooh, she's pretty. I want to marry her." And there was a conversation that took place between nephew and uncle, Jacob and Laban, over Rachel. And he said, "If you work for me for 7 years, you can marry her." Okay. And those 7 years felt like nothing to him. At the end of the 7 years, he was 84 years old. He married Leah out of some trickery from Laban. Laban said, "Give her 7 days." 7 days later, he married Rachel. He was married to both of them when he was 84. How do I know this to be 100% accurate, undisputable? Because he knew that Rachel was barren. He would not have known that for an entire 7 years if he had waited for 7 years until he was 91 to marry her. No, he married her at 84. She was barren. They knew that because they were married. One was the bride, one was the wife. And so he continued to work another 6 years for the cattle. He was there for a total of 20 years. He was 97 years old when he left Laban with his 2 wives, his 12 children, and his cattle. I hope that clears that up. I keep seeing people say he was 70. No, he was 77 when he left. Barry Moo features trumpets. Okay, and they're still using the sliver moon. Okay. And he's still arriving at October the 3rd. That's fine. That's their math. I'm cool with that. Never going to put down another brother watchman trying to figure this out. Yeah, they can put roaster. Yeah, they can put a link up there for Discord if you'd like to go in there. Just know this, that each room that belongs to a watcher, we discuss that watcher's stuff. It seems to upset some people for some reason. There are rooms you can go discuss whatever you want. But in these watchers, David the Watchman, we don't want to go in there discussing, a subject that has no relevance to anything to do with one of his videos. If you want David to come in there and respond, if you want David to come in there and respond, it would be nice if it weren't cluttered up with conversations that have nothing to do with this video. And you can ask him questions. What about this? Just like you are now. Just ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. They were not in heaven. They were tribulation saints. They were in the boat. The bride in this scenario is Enoch. Noah and his family would represent tribulation saints. They are going through tribulation. They are protected by Jesus. They've been given a double portion, but they are not the bride. They are tribulation saints. I don't discuss pets because I have not studied that subject. I know some YouTube channels said that pets are food for people after the rapture, and then as soon as their pet passed away, they're like, "I know my pet will be in heaven." I mean, it's okay to make those statements when your pets are alive, right? So I don't get into that. I don't know. Sassy Sarah. You can put a little sugar on that comment, right? A little sugar? Why are you ignoring the Julian calendar? His dates are still in play. Because the Julian calendar is wrong. Stassi Sarah. The Julian calendar is an antiquated calendar that was created by Julius Caesar, not even religious. Julius Caesar brought out in, I think it was 48 BC. Jesus was on the Julian calendar. He was not on the Sliver Moon calendar. He was on the Julian calendar, and it went wrong. They made a calculation, a mathematical miscalculation, and by the time you get to 1582, it was off by 10 and a half days. They rectified that problem by removing 10 and a half days from the calendar, and they realigned the Gregorian calendar with the Julian calendar. What you see today, when you look at your watch, it's October the 2nd. Guess what day this was back in Jesus' time? October the 2nd. That's the date it was. They fixed it. They fixed it by bringing out the Gregorian calendar. The Julian calendar does not work. Now, they're doing math from it to bring trumpets even further along. In my opinion, trumpets passed on September the 15th, period. It's gone. And so it's over with. But I am certainly not ignoring their math. I just don't agree with it. All right, question. What do you think of the Simpsons episode of The Rapture? I saw it. What do I think? I think a lot of the stuff we leave the world behind, stuff like that. I think that Satan, of course, has insight and might be giving some of that to these people to make videos and movies and stuff. Oh, sorry. I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and I got to get up at 6 in the morning tomorrow and go to work. But I just felt like, let me come out here and make this video. Can you recap a bit? I just came on. No, I sound real cool and double speed. So go double speed. Some say date setting is demonic. Devil's advocate here. Why in the world would any evil force affirm the rapture by setting a date which would give hope and irrevocably, sorry about that, save a soul? Nonsense, exactly. And I feel the same way about Joshua and his date. Exactly the same way. The Jews in the world do not recognize Jesus as Messiah. That's not 100% true. There are Messianic Jews, so that's not 100% accurate. What is their fate should the rapture happen tomorrow? They will be here, but they will be protected because Jesus, God, loves the Jews far and above the rest of us. And you might not like hearing that. And if you don't like hearing that, I would question where your heart is. But the Bible is abundantly clear that the Jews were chosen. They were a stiff-necked people. They are going to accept the Antichrist as their Messiah. They are a messed up people, but they are God's people, and He chose them. And ultimately, those who don't choose Jesus will go in. I think 2/3 of them will die, but 1/3 of them will go into the millennium. All right, we got a baby Christian. Baby Christian here. Someone in my life is telling me I am a lukewarm Christian and I will be spit out. Repo Man, can you explain? There are several terminologies we use for people who are not saved yet. And we call them lukewarm. Most of them are people who think that they have attained salvation by virtue of some works that they have done, and they have rested in that. And they will tell you, I go to church every Wednesday, I'm saved. That's the definition of a lukewarm Christian. A Christian that loves Jesus is in the Word every day, trying to learn more and more. You're drawing more intimate with your Savior. You're drawing more intimate with your Creator. And you're doing this on every single day. And a lukewarm Christian just is not. They are resting on something other than Jesus to save them. That's a lukewarm Christian. Oh, I don't know where your heart is if you're searching and studying. Uh, they might be the lukewarm Christian because, in their opinion, you weren't working hard enough. Honestly, to tell somebody that, the only way I would say something like that to somebody is if I notice that they're resting on their works. I have not heard about 30 missing days. And most people that actually laugh at tribulation saints, oh, you're going to be left behind. Me and my group are going, but none of you that aren't in my group are going. I'm the one that holds the truth. God is revealing everything to me and nobody else. If you aren't as studious as I am, all that garbage is a lukewarm Christian. All that garbage is the very definition of a tribulation saint. And I take no, and I won't do it. I won't tell anybody that they're a tribulation saint. I will tell them you need to stop. I read the Bible every day. I do this. I do that. That to me tells me you're a tribulation saint because you're resting on something other than the blood of Christ. Anything other than just the blood of Christ is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Question: could the AC entering the temple be both a literal event and a spiritual meaning? I'm thinking about mRNA and how. So no, no, no. No, it's not. Him entering the temple is an event that the Bible describes because he can proclaim himself to be God. I know this understanding that people are trying to say that the mark of the beast is here now, and if you don't accept Jesus, you've accepted the mark. I don't view that because you wind up getting into trouble with when this C19 came out. It was insane. I was making videos and losing subscribers right and left because I said it's not the mark. People, stop! It's not the mark. The mark doesn't come out until after the middle of until after the two witnesses are taken back up. This mark doesn't come out till then. That's not the mark. People were yelling, "You're getting people cast into the lake of fire because they're going." Look, I didn't go take that thing. I think it's poison, but I didn't not take it because I thought it was the mark. That's ridiculous. It's not the mark. I knew we weren't 3.5 years in the tribulation. The only way that you could possibly think that we're in the seals right now is if the Antichrist has been revealed. Anybody see the Antichrist revealed yet? Do you know who he is? Have you seen him face to face yet? Has he come out and said, I am the great I am? No, no. You can't lose faith in a pre-tribulational rapture and believe that you know who the Antichrist is. You can't believe in a pre-tribulational rapture and believe that anything they come out with right now is the mark. I lost, like I said, I had other channels and this is when my channel was small, 5,000 subscribers. I took a huge hit because I kept saying, it's not the mark. This is not the mark. People, stop, calm down. It's not the mark. You're getting people cast into the lake of fire. And no, I'm not. It's not the mark. I know we're not in the tribulation. I know none of the seals have been opened. The world was created, or it began creation on September the 11th in 4004 BC. Boom. There you go. Let's see. Oh yeah, there you are, Brett. Yeah, yeah. It is so perfect. I didn't even see it. I was talking to you. I was like, wait a minute. This is perfect. I'm still trying to figure out the days. I have to go back and look at that. I told her to put it there. Now I'm like, I don't know. I have to take a look at it. Well, I guess it's right. No, I don't know. I have to take a look at it. I feel like I'm a day off all of a sudden. I think I might have to deduct. See, and that's the other thing. I really don't know if it's 8 o'clock tomorrow because I don't know if God's using a stellar calendar or a solar calendar. I really don't know. I mean, he did say that Jesus died on the cross at about 3 p.m. If you use the solar calendar, it was 3 p.m. If you use a stellar calendar, it's 3:40 p.m. You can see that on the timeline where I put or Sister Sandy put it on there for me. 4 minutes a day. It's about 3:40 in the afternoon, according to a stellar calendar. Who are they today named in Revelation as the 144,000 are the babies that were killed by King Herod. They are in heaven. They have grown up in heaven, but their bodies are still here dead. And on that day, that's that day when we rise, when the dead in not we rise, when the dead in Christ rise, more than just the bride is going to rise. We already know that Moses has to rise. He's dead, been dead for a long time. I believe Judas Iscariot is going to rise. These 144,000 have to rise. Something's telling me a whole lot more are going to rise, and that's why the military is building up everywhere. Anybody see how many people they're looking for guards for the prisons? It's insane. How are they going to pay for all this stuff? Oh, they don't care. They're just going to keep printing. It doesn't matter to them. But they're going to have quite a force. They're going to have quite a force of people out because they are going to view these dead that rise that don't go to heaven as zombies. I'm telling you, it is that day is going to be greater than anybody could possibly imagine. Yes, First Thessalonians 4. Trying to scroll down. 8:01. Oh, I'm still 30 minutes behind. Ooh, I saw a question. Oh, I don't think I can get back to it. Oops. Maybe I can. It lets me go down, but it doesn't let me scroll back up. God's chosen people. Look, the only way to go to heaven is through the blood, through Jesus, period. If the Jews, whatever Jews have not accepted Jesus as their Messiah, no, they will not go to heaven in the rapture. They are God's chosen people. God loves them immensely. He loves all of us immensely, but you have a choice to make. This is a free will choice. This is not predestination. Predestination, when you talk about it, you're actually trying to get into the mind of God. He is omnipresent, omnipotent. He sees everything from beginning to end. He already knew you were going to take that cup. That's why he put that verse in there, so you know who he is. He is large and in charge, and that's why that verse is in there. 8:04. Oh, 26 minutes behind. Let me do this so I can keep it. Did Jesus not say that he came first to the house of Israel? He did say that, right? I don't know where that verse is, but I do recall it. Did he not show up to the Jews first? Did not the Jews write the Old Testament? Didn't the Jews write the New Testament? Didn't the Jews begin this mission of believing on Jesus Christ? Didn't the Jews do all of that? They did it all. The Jews did it all. They started this whole thing. Let's see. Question. I had a dream last night and saw a woman giving birth. I saw it like 2 times in the dream, like it was something that was showing me God is about to deliver us. Amen. Sounds good. That sounds good. A lot of people are having those types of dreams. Question. What does the oil represent with the bridegroom? And some ran out. The 10 virgins, 5 with oil and 5 without, have nothing to do with the bride. He is called, Jesus at this moment, when he's coming for those with oil, is called a bridegroom because he already has his bride in heaven. We're already enjoying our mansions. Jesus leaves to come down and get the tribulation saints. The tribulation saints are the ones who went out and bought oil and filled their oil. They know this because when they tell those with no oil, hey, share it with us. And they're like, no, unless we don't have enough. Why don't you go buy it? Because that's what they did. They had to pay for it. That is what happens during the tribulation. It is not, it is a free gift. It'll always be a free gift. but you will be refined through the fire. He's going to wake you up during the tribulation. You are going to say to yourself, why didn't I accept Christ and stop relying on my works before I went through all of this? But I had a I had a son that literally had to suffer to learn. He would put his hand in the fire, and I'm like, and my wife was like, well, don't let him burn himself. I'm like, no, let him burn himself. He put his hand there, burn himself, and I'm like, did you learn anything? Nope. 5 minutes later, he was back. Did you learn anything? But the other kids saw him, and they were like, nope, not putting my hand on that thing. Yeah, it wasn't like he was too young to learn, but I think that's the way fathers are. You just kind of sit back and go, you got to learn. I'd rather you learn, now than keep you away from it and you learn on your own somewhere else. So what extra biblical books are included in your studies? I'm not being what? Pedantic? Pedantic. Pedantic. That's a big word. I don't understand what pedantic means. Um, Facetious? Is that what you're saying? I'm not being facetious. Um, uh, I study that you call them extra biblical books. I just call them historical books. They don't belong in the Bible, but I will study all kinds of historical books. I'll study Enoch. I'll study the book of Jubilees. I'll study the book of the Luminaries. I'll study the Legends of the Jews. I'll study all those books because the Bible says something, but those enhance what happened during that period of time. You don't need to know that stuff. You don't need to know any of that stuff for salvation. The Bible is written for your salvation. You don't need to know that Noah loaded just baby animals. They were all tiny. They were babies, and they stayed babies throughout the flood. You don't need to know that they just didn't grow. You don't need to know that all the birds were just eggs. The birds came up, laid eggs, and walked away. And Noah simply went out there and collected these eggs and put them in the ark, and they stayed eggs for a year until the flood was over, and they all went out, and then they just grew up. And so that's why when they went out, they didn't start eating each other. They were all babies. I suggest enlarging timeline and minimizing your picture. Okay. I barely know what I'm doing here technologically. And so I believe Jesus is king. I believe in the rapture, but please stop setting dates. I will not set dates. I will not say that I think the rapture is tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will refrain from doing that just for you. I read in John 11:12 about Lazarus being raised from the dead. This appears to be at the same time Jesus was attending the Feast of Dedication. No. Nope. Mirror, yes. No. No, it's not the mirror effect because this is actually October 3rd is actually when Jesus rose. But let me look at what the mirror effect is of that particular day. It's the fourth day of time. It's the eighth day. No, it just this literally Lazarus rising mirrors Jesus rising exactly 14 days apart, 2 weeks. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It doesn't really mirror to 6 months down here unless you look at the fourth day of the creation of time. Uh-oh, Tick's here. I'm under attack. Looking for the word question. Let's see, 808. Oh, it's still so far behind. Looking for that word question. Let's see. Question: could the AC enter the temple be both a literal event and a spiritual meaning? I'm thinking about, do you ask that question already? I just hadn't gotten to it yet. um, answered that. Let's see here. Mike, can you explain the 13 virgins? I mean, 10 virgins? Yeah, he means 10 virgins. How none are the bride, as the 5 that arrive with oil are met by the groomsmen. Yeah, I must just be behind. It must have been an earlier comment. He is called the bridegroom because the bride is already in heaven. He is now showing up in seal 6 to pick up those with oil. That's everyone who took that cup and drank from it during the tribulation. Those 5 with oil, Repo Man is wrong. The 10 virgins are 5 brides. No, they're not. They are not. Ronia, I am not wrong. He is called the bridegroom. How could he be called a bridegroom unless he already had his bride? It's just simple. It's logical. It's just logical. Let's see here. It's just logic. They are called. They have the 5 with oil have gained that oil. They've gone out to buy it during the tribulation. We can agree to disagree on those 10 virgins. Let me read this question. Nearly everything in Scripture and shadows of events is repeated in some form. Very true. Paul was in prison in Caesarea, Jerusalem, then shipped to Rome. Hostages are nearly in prison 2 years. That's interesting. Repeat. That is a. I like that. I like that conclusion. Can you provide scripture that states the rapture is a reward for faithful service? The rapture is not a reward for faithful service. That sounds a lot like work. It is a reward for taking that cup and believing solely on the blood of Christ. That's the reward. Too many people are adding to it. Too many people think that they deserve this. Too many people will be standing there going, Lord, Lord, didn't I? These are the lukewarm Christians. They believe they deserve this. They will tell you they are going to heaven and that they deserve this. I studied harder than anyone else. I did this and I did that. We don't. The reward is given to us, lowly Christians, who will arrive in heaven with our heads down because we know we don't deserve to be there. Because the only thing we did that counted for anything was take that cup and drink from it. That's all we ever did. After that, we do stuff, but it doesn't do any. You think this YouTube channel does anything for me? If I study the Bible day and night, do you think that adds anything to my salvation whatsoever? Do you think it indicates that I am saved? Can you walk up to somebody and say, can you walk up to me, Mike? You have a YouTube channel. It's pretty large. A lot of people watch you. You're saved. You don't know me. I hate to say it that way, but you don't know me. I know me. I know that I only took that cup. I know I only trust in the blood of Christ, but you don't know that. So you can't judge anyone else as to whether or not that's a fact or not a fact. But I believe Brett. I believe David the Watchman. David the Watchman appeared on a channel, and he called the rapture a reward. And I don't believe he would have done so. And that's where I get that from. I don't believe he would have done so if he hadn't found a Bible verse that indicates that. So Brett from God's Down Down Under or David the Watchman both probably know, or Billboard for Christ, Matt over at Billboard for Christ, probably know what verse it is because I remember them reading it. I heard it. It resonated. It stuck with me. I repeat it because it's true. The rapture is a reward. The reward is not all the work I did. The reward is the simplicity of the gospel, in that I took that cup and drank from it. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing else. Everything after that, once I became saved, once I trusted on the blood and the blood of Christ alone, then I did things. I gained crowns. But the reward was because I trusted on Christ and Christ alone. That's it. I don't know how else to. You can't explain that to a tribulation saint. They will tell you, well, yeah, I did the same thing, but I went and got baptized. They are solidifying the deal. They're hedging their bet. They're adding to it because what was in that cup wasn't enough for them. They needed something more. That's why they did it. They didn't do it because it was an outward expression of what was happening in their heart. They started doing stuff because they were able to convince themselves that they were saved. Does that make sense? It's very hard to articulate. Anybody who is a bride fully understands what I'm talking about, and I'll leave it at that. Let's see here. How is it when people have NDE, they see people in heaven? Is it not only their spirits that go to heaven until their bodies are raised? Yes, it's nobody. And I want to repeat this abundantly clear for everyone. There is only one who died, was raised from the dead, and has ascended to the Father. Nobody else. All those people that rose with Jesus died again. The kids that Elijah and Elisha raised died again. Lazarus that Jesus raised died again. The only one I might question as to whether or not he has been alive this entire time is John, because Jesus made a comment, and I don't believe that Jesus says anything without merit, without reason, without why, and that is, John, if I decide to leave him alive until I return, what is it of you to ask me that question? It's the same thing that happened with Job. Who are you to ask me a question? Were you there when I laid the foundations of the earth? God is telling us, I will, and I'll tell you what, I think people have the hardest time accepting that more than anything. God is God Almighty and will do what he wants to do, whether you like it or not. And I'm not saying you. I'm not talking to you that had the question, Helen King. I'm just saying, as a generality to all of us, he will do as he pleases to his good will. He is God, and he made us, and we, as the pottery, will not question. We will just go, we're told. Now, the pottery is an analogy stating that how much greater God is than us, but you're still given that cup. I don't want anybody to mix that up. I'm not saying predestination and all you have to do. You don't even have, there's no reason to have a YouTube channel then. There's no reason to do anything then if it's predestination. You were always going to get saved. That's not what it is. God always knew you were going to get saved. He always knew you would take that cup and drink down salvation. Sorry, my nose is running. It is getting late. I got to get up early. How many hundreds or thousands of years have people been waiting or expecting this day? They were waiting. They were, from the very moment Jesus ascended and the two angels appeared behind them, they were standing there waiting. They were waiting for the rapture the very second Jesus left, and we have been waiting ever since. Oh, there's Sister Sandy put up the Discord channel. There's the Discord channel, the link. I don't know if you can capture it from there. I don't think so. I think you have to go capture it here. Question. If Jesus was 33 and a half years old when they crucified him, then why are we saying he was crucified in 32 AD? I don't know who is saying that. I don't know where they're getting that math. Jesus, always remember the 0 year, but Jesus was born from our perspective in 4 BC, because from our perspective, who was it? King Herod, is that King Herod? Died in 4 BC. King Herod tried to kill Jesus in 4 BC. That's a date from our perspective. It was actually 3 BC. Jesus lived for 33 and a half years. Jesus was born in September. 33 and a half years later, he died on a cross in 30 AD on March 30th. But again, if we try to fix the 0 year of 4 BC and call it 3 BC, then it's 31 AD, if that makes any sense. If you go into Google right now, just ask Google, how much time is there between March 30th, 3 BC, and March 30th of 30 AD, and it will come up and tell you it's 33 and a half years. But it's wrong because it's counting the 0 year. You can't count the 0 year. So you have to give in from one side to the other. Either King Jesus was born in 3 BC and King Herod died in 3 BC, or King Herod died in 4 BC. Jesus was born in 4 BC and he went to the cross in 30 AD. That makes sense. If it was 3 BC when Jesus was born, then he died in 31 AD. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see here. Could the great eighth day or the eighth day of they're both the same. The great eighth day, the great day or the eighth day of tabernacles be symbolic of resurrection of the church? I don't know. No. Honestly, Jesus rising on October the 4th in Israel 3 a.m. to me is a better scenario than the first day he spilled his blood for mankind. He did that the very first time Jesus spilled his blood for mankind, is when he was circumcised on October the 7th, the day Israel was attacked on Shemini Atzeret. That's the great eighth day. I apologize. So many intestinal problems. I hope the rapture soon. I ain't gonna make it much longer. Question. Let's see here. When and who started the Jubilees and the Jubilee years? God did. He assigned it on March 26th, right as Joshua was crossing over into the Promised Land in 1406 BC. Before that, we couldn't calculate it because that he didn't talk about it before that. But if you calculate it from 1406 BC, go back, you will land on creation. And if you go forward, you will land in 2025. So it's not God started it. That's God told them, and that's when it started. It started on March 26th in 1406. I hope, Sassy, no, I'm not angry. I'm sorry. I just get loud explaining. Please don't think I'm angry. I am not angry. That happened a while ago. Oh, it's still 30 minutes out. I can't catch up. Sorry about that, Sassy. I wasn't picking on you. I was just I don't even remember what the question was at this point. Chooch's mansion will be orange. Ugh. I hope it's not next to mine. He's going to bring down my property value. Question. Do you believe Jesus was conceived December 25th and born September? No. It was conceived on December the 25th. Absolutely. But do the math. 40 weeks later is not September the 11th. 40 weeks later is September the 30th. He was born on tabernacles. He came to tabernacle with us. He was not born. Look, and not angry, just explaining. That drives me nuts. September 11th is the day that God created Lucifer and the angels. They are the light that was created. They were good when they were created. But when they got to day 6 and created Adam on September the 16th, Satan became jealous. And 7 years later, he talked Eve into eating that apple. 7 years and 47 days later, he convinced Eve to eat that apple. He was enraged. He was created the most beautiful thing, but we were created in the image of God, and that infuriated Satan. So no, Jesus was not born on the same day Satan was. Uh, that to me is tantamount to stating that making that statement to me is tantamount to stating that Jesus is Lucifer's brother. And I've heard people say that, and and that's why they say that, because of that date, September the 11th. So the answer is no. He was born on September the 30th on Tabernacles. If you do your math from December the 25th, go forward 40 weeks, 280 days, and you will land on September the 30th. Jesus was not born early. He spent exactly 40 weeks in the womb, 280 days. Question: in the rapture, do our earthly bodies remain here, or just our clothes? Just our clothes. Look, you'll be changed so fast and clothed. You're not getting raptured naked. You will be, your clothes that are on right now will fall off. Everything you have on, your fillings in your teeth, all that is going to fall out. You are going to be changed. All of you will be changed, and you will be clothed in white. That's the covering of Jesus. That's the blood of Christ. That is what we signed up for when we took that cup and drank from it. And we will be raptured out of here, and our clothes will stay behind. We have to be changed right now, because I don't know about you, but I won't make it through that roof without serious damage if I'm taken out of here at the speed of light in this current state. We are changed right where you sit, right where you are. You will be changed. Okay, it's a good question. I like this question. Cam, do you ever consider what is happening in the world as part of your consideration with your timeline? I know that you are just the facts. Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Just the facts, man. So yeah, of course. I watch all the other channels. I watch New News. What's his name? I'm gonna forget his name. Ross over at New News. Yeah, because he's tied something really brilliant together with what's going on over there. I watch, prepper channels because they got their finger on the pulse of the things that are happening. I don't do that type of configuring, but I do watch their stuff, and so mine is just the facts, just the math, ma'am. Question: Can a spiritually dead person? How can a spiritually dead person can have faith if the dead has no reaction? Even you share gospel to them, for sure. Even faith came from the Lord Jesus Christ. That's my belief. What's yours? I'm not sure what the question is. Dead has no. Are you asking the people who died already? How are they going to hear the gospel? It would be very unfortunate, in my opinion, that if you died 5 minutes before the rapture, you don't get an opportunity to accept the Lord uh, and become a tribulation saint. But if you make it 5 minutes after the rapture and you accept the Lord, now suddenly you're going to heaven. I believe all the dead are going to rise, and I believe all of them, just like Thomas, will see the rapture. And at that moment, they will have a choice to make to become a tribulation saint and accept the same thing that's happening right now. There's the same exact thing, and that is accept Jesus and his salvation. You'll be under the wrath of God. You'll be a tribulation saint, but you'll have the same opportunity as uh, as everyone else. There's only one opportunity. That is to see Christ and deny him or accept him. We don't. The reason that we're rewarded is because we haven't seen him. All we do is study and have dreams, but we actually haven't had a visit from him telling us anything yet. And yet we still believe in him. That's the reward. No, no. It says he'll appear in the clouds. No, I don't think he's going to show up in a chariot. He's going to appear in the clouds. We'll be poof, changed and poof. We'll be right there in the clouds with him that quick. It'll happen that fast. And I think the whole world is going to see that event. I'm really tired. Maybe that's why I got a little excited with that person. I didn't mean to. Years ago, I'm the righteous woman that is about to rise to reveal God's fun. Huh? Okay. Remember, God will give his glory to no one. Anything I figure out, or Brett figures out, or David the Watchman figures out, or Joshua figures out, or anyone figures out, doesn't count for a hill of beans, because Amos 3:7 will be fulfilled by God, period. He will give his glory to no one. No one. If I have figured anything out that's accurate, when I get to heaven, it'll be because the Holy Spirit showed me, not because I'm a smart guy. Okay, same question. Retro Man. Repo Man. Yeah, I mean, Ron Wyatt, that was a pretty incredible thing to say, is that the ark was actually under, was it Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. His blood went down through that crack that the Bible talks about and landed on the Ark of the Covenant. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I have to say that that is very credible, because that makes a lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. All right. Let's see here. 2032 or 2033. I don't know what that means. You talking about the end of the tribulation? The end of the tribulation would have to end in 2032. Question. Did you see Rock Island Books? Yes, I did. I saw Rock Island Books, and I like everything that guy teaches. Question. Is October 6th and 7th a watch day? Yes, it is. It is a watch date. October the 7th for me is the great eighth day. And that's the day Jesus spilled his blood for us for the first time. That might actually be the drop of blood that he spilled there, might be the covering for the bride, possibly. I don't know for certain. Question. So woe to those nursing babies in abomination of desolation. Aren't all babies and children taken up? Statement in the bride Bible makes me question. So remember, you're dealing with several groups of people. Yes, while I do believe the children and the babies go up, women are still going to get pregnant during the 7-year tribulation, right? And we're dealing with the bride, we're dealing with tribulation saints and how long they'll be here for, and we're dealing with the Jews who will be protected by God supernaturally in Israel, and subsequently after Israel in Petra. Online Warriors for Christ. Hey, how you doing? So yeah, you got that wrong. He's saying 2020. It could be in 2007 already passed. Are you talking about 2027? Oh, Philip Barnett. No, yeah, I disagree. And I was trying to articulate that. People will make comments before they've heard the whole video, they'll listen to 5 minutes of it and they'll make comments before they heard the entire video. And that was, I don't know why you're talking about Philip Barnett. I don't believe. I said that there was a prophet that came forward, said the rapture was going to happen, and it didn't. And we have it, and it passed. And we have another prophet that says the rapture can't happen until after sometime in November of 2025, when his wedding anniversary happens. It can't happen sometime until after that, but mathematically it has to happen before November, because on March 30th of 2029, the two witnesses have to die and rise. So in my opinion, we have two prophets. One said too soon, one says too late. Somewhere in the middle is the rapture. He's gotten a lot of people to wake up too. So I just wonder if it's coming from him. We attribute a lot of stuff to Satan, and he's not omnipresent. He's not omnipotent. He's not able to. He aside from pestering us, he's not able to come right in front of you and convince you of anything. People like to blame Satan for a lot of stuff they're doing. Yeah, I answered that already. 8:35. Oh, I'll never get caught up. You're asking the same question over and over again, Helen King. You gotta be patient till I get there. Glass Darkly at Glass Darkly. Hello, sister. Oh, Glass Darkly is here. Hi. Oh, there she is. I loved the math she did on that. That was absolutely insane. That was so cool. It gave me something really high to watch for, a really good high watch day. That was absolutely fantastic. I have so much math and timelines and calendars everywhere. There is no question about what happened when I'm gone. Yeah, that's a good question, Mike S. That is a good question. Um, Spinebreaker seems to think so. While I do think you were created with your better half, like there's your two peas in a pod. It won't be like a marriage like we have here, where you just pick somebody and you marry them. No, this person is you. It's just you're perfect together. You're why did Jesus say it is not good for man to be alone before man fell, before man sinned? Why did Jesus say it's not good for man to be alone? If man were married to God at that point, wouldn't why would he need a female at that point? And it is not good for man to be alone. Now, some will argue that we're married to Jesus when we get there, and that's fine. I can accept that as well. But another part of me says that we'll be married to the person you were always intended to marry, the person that is exactly perfect for you and your personality. And but I personally think that the only children that will be born from that moment forward will be those from the Jews. I believe that lineage, that bloodline, the Jewish bloodline, will continue on for all eternity. And those who were saved without seeing represent the bride. And if we had children, how could they be called the bride when they were not saved without seeing? But that's just my opinion. I'm not dogmatic about it. I don't really know. Same thing with tribulation saints. They had to see first. Well, these babies that are born of the tribulation saints, what did they see first? You know what I mean? We're all in heaven. I think, I think we have enough. I don't know that I think we'll have children running around in heaven, of course. I don't know. To answer that, I don't know. I have to revert back to what's the definition of a bride, what's the definition of a tribulation saint, and neither of those definitions would apply to a child born to a bride or to a tribulation saint. So I really don't know. How are they purchasing oil within a beast system? Are you still talking about the five with oil? So you remember it's not the beast system until after the 3.5 years where they're forced to take the mark. It's going to it's already being set up now. But at this moment, I think you can go out right now and buy oil without having to have the mark of the beast. You'll be able to buy oil throughout the first 3.5 years until the mark of the beast is refined and brought out to where they say you can't buy, sell, or trade without it. The same thing I think Europe has actually said, you can't buy, sell, and trade without the mark, but we'll still accept your cash for the time being. They can't come out with it fully until the 3.5 year mark. Question. Hi, Mike. I got in late. Are you basing tomorrow on Lazarus being raised? No, I'm basing that actually is symmetrical as well. I think somebody else said that, and I didn't realize what they were saying. Yeah, I mean Jesus rises on Nissan 18. Lazarus rises on Nissan 4. 2 weeks exactly apart. And if you come down here on Tishri 18, Jesus rises, which I think is October 4th at 3 a.m. in Israel and 8 p.m. our time here, Eastern Standard Time. So Lazarus, and that's why I kind of brushed it off, because Lazarus, the mirror to Lazarus is the fourth day of time. It's after creation. It's the fourth day of time. It's the day after God rested. So I don't know. I mean, it is symmetrical up there in the first part. Yeah, it is symmetrical up there. Yes, that's a good question, by the way. I would expect nothing less from you. Yeah, I don't know if Spinebreaker in here. Hi, Spinebreaker. I love these kind of comments. I actually do love that, because you're not making the statement that the month starts on a sliver of full moon. You're not looking at moons. To worship the moon was brought about by King Antiochus in I think it was 400 or 500 BC, and he's the one that initiated this whole mess that we're in. That's where it all started. That's where they left the Enoch timeline, or the Dead Sea Scrolls calendar. That's where they left it back then. So I am not opposed to the moon being at 108 degrees or any of that if it lines up with the and I would assume honestly that it would, like a lot of these blood moons and eclipses actually do line up. So that's, in my opinion, its actual purpose, not to begin a month. I don't hate the moon. The moon's my friend. I don't have anything against the moon. I just don't think it starts a month. All right, what's time? 8:41. Oh, I'm 30 minutes behind. Stop asking questions. Stop talking. That's me joking. I'm not getting mad. Can't believe he thought I was getting mad. Question. I believe in the finished work of Jesus, but I still feel guilt for my sins. Am I saved? So first of all, I'm not going to answer whether you're saved or not, because I don't know you from Adam. We all feel guilt. Brett feels guilt. I feel guilt. I think about it, how humiliated I am, how sorry I am, how embarrassed I will be standing in front of my Creator as he, and I pray that he doesn't go through each one by one, because holy monkeys, I don't even want to go down that road. I'm hoping he's just like, yeah, let's get rid of that over there, because yeah, we're humiliated by it. I think a lot of people have forgiven themselves assuming that that is what's going to happen. And I think that a bride is humiliated and is praying that is what will happen. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. Is there a live somewhere? We're losing some traction. How long? I've been on here 2 hours again. Let's see. It's 9:12. I have to get off here. It is always fun, and I try to get to every question on here as best I can. I'm hoping that uh, Brett might have answered some. I'm hoping Glass Darkly might have answered some for you guys. I can't get to them all. I have to get up at 6 in the morning and go to work. But tomorrow after work, I get off work at 4:30, get home about 5:30. I will be intently watching and listening for the rapture, which I pray happens tomorrow. But if not, I will keep watching and looking for the symmetrics from when he will return, but always acknowledging that Amos 3:7 will be fulfilled by God Himself, and He will ultimately tell us. He will not tell me to tell you when it is. He will enlighten you, like much like this piece of information enlighten me on when the rapture might occur. He will enlighten all of you. Maybe a visit from an angel, maybe in whatever way it is that you watch and hope and dream that that this rapture is going to happen soon. So, and maybe an event will happen tomorrow at that time, saying, "Oh, look, that event just happened." So, I appreciate everything, everybody. It was a really good live. I enjoyed that. I apologize if somebody misunderstood me for being angry. I think I repeated your name a couple times, so you thought I was angry, but I was being I was tongue in cheek, joking around with you, and I'll watch that next time myself, not to make you think that I am never angry. I'm actually always in a pretty good mood. So I'm about to be raptured. I'm in a very good mood. The rapture's about to happen, so I am in a very good mood. So, all right, we will chat with you all again. Thank you for joining.